He had a rough couple of months.
Okay.
That stinks.
Yeah, still trying to recover.
Oops.
But you're doing better now.
Okay, so we're live on the interwebs.
Greg left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have something bad to say about him?
No, I'm scooting down so I can hear.
Good thing you did your makeup before you came.
So,
Hey, he's not on the camera.
So,
But you are.
you have the highlighter.
Yeah.
You don't like this? It's not. I'm getting tired.
Dave knows.
Shoulder's been bothering me this week.
Okay, I'm sorry. We'll go back to this. I'm
She
sorry.
only likes me like that if she's eating it.
Okay.
So she's
Okay.
like,
Okay. I
you're not
apologize.
feeding me? Don't put me like that.
I apologize. I'm sorry. And you don't look like my mom.
All right, so apostates and apostasy.
Are apostates people who
Huh? No,
are apostates people who have
and it's not the same thing as what you have to have checked by the doctor when you turn 40.
I thought it was 50, but
I think it's 40.
It depends on your family history, but it really should be around 40.
I've only had that done
It's
once.
not what I
and-
had to have checked when I turned 40. Oh my.
You're not a guy, so.
Oh yeah. Okay. There's that.
This real weird
I believe the word the doctor used was buggy.
No, just like this.
Baby.
She gave me an
Figure it
antibiotic.
out.
I'll take her.
No.
Actually, that's my
Mine.
baby.
Baby. Right now she's mine.
Actually, mine.
She does have his last name.
Y'all thought I was going, eh?
Oh my goodness.
I
she's
did
back.
thought she was gone.
I need the car seat.
Why?
That one.
Push your chair.
I was like, you're not taking
Yeah.
pictures.
Click and I'll go.
Okay.
Are you sure you trust him with your car?
I do.
I'd still be hungry.
I wouldn't hand you the keys, but
She just doesn't like the way I feel.
you've still got teen in the name of your age, so it's a little different.
Fair. But Timmy still has Timmy in the name in his name.
I didn't think about that.
I'll bring it back.
I'll survive until then.
All right, let's open up the clat
Savannah.
giant,
No.
the chat client over here.
for me?
Oh, bingo.
No, it didn't work. Is yours not working
it
either?
works. I just can't read it. It's too green.
Two green. I had to get neon yellow this time. Last week he gave me yellow, and like I'd write on the white paper, and I went, well, it's there, but I have to get real close to quick to see it. It was like banana yellow.
So what happened to our regular pets?
They are in a bag at
They're in
Holly's
my
house
house,
somewhere.
aren't they? Remind me, we need to get them out of our closet.
And they've been there since
Is that one working?
Unity in the community. So since September 14th ish, just over a month. That's not bad. Could be worse.
Okay.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything they want to say about the podcast? Something about the podcast. Not what I was looking for.
It's not about what you
enjoyed
have
it.
to get checked.
Not everybody at once.
I didn't have any notes on it this week. I did tell you the one.
I had a question.
What was your question?
It was about the word.
That's it.
What was the
Garment defiled by the
Oh.
flesh.
Yeah. You don't even. I don't know exactly what that is.
Jude says, hating even the garment defiled by the flesh.
What does that mean?
That's what she wanted to know. So in the Jewish culture, there's a lot of talk about garments that you put on. You put on a garment of prayer. You put on a garment of service. You put on a garment of this or that. If you're a tax collector, you wear the garments of a tax collector. If you're a priest, you wear the garments of a priest. And what Jude is saying here is he's saying you need to have mercy on people that aren't Christians or who haven't stayed within the fold. But at the same time, if you're an alcoholic and they're hanging out in the bars, you need to stay away from the bar. Because you don't want to put on the garment of the exact thing that you just freed yourself from to try to reach them. You want to go in other areas. And that's what Jude is talking about there, is when he talks about the garment defiled by the flesh. He's saying, well, don't put back on the same visage of what you were before you changed your life. You know, stand firm with what you've done and keep your ground.
And which Jude are we talking about?
The book of Jude,
Oh.
the one chapter.
Not
Yeah.
the one that's about Beatles song.
hate you.
That one page in the Bible somewhere.
So,
Some Bibles it takes up more than one page.
people next to you said you had a really nice car.
Yeah. They should know. They parked really close to it. Okay, now what did you say? When she was second, you started talking?
I said I enjoyed it.
You just said you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Is that your new, it
Yeah,
was
that's
valid?
his new. It was valid.
It was also valid.
I just like all of you some days.
Some days.
Someday.
A lot of other days.
Hey,
We love you too.
Only
do
on
you
days
not
that
do you
end
like
in
me
Y.
because they beat me to it, so I just didn't say it.
And then Connie,
He's never liked you.
you started saying something when
She also said
Nooms
she
and
enjoyed it.
Roxanne started saying something. You all three started talking at the exact same time.
She said she enjoyed it.
Oh, she said she enjoyed it?
Yeah.
She's
I
like,
don't
no, I don't
remember
remember
saying
saying,
anything.
I don't even remember feeling like I enjoyed it. I don't know.
You said, I enjoyed it. I mean, you know, it's... And then we stopped. Everyone else was
I got confused at the part where you started talking about something else.
Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her in your heart.
Oh, it is that Jude.
Hey Jude.
Yeah.
And
Come
then
on
you
now.
can start
Beatles.
to make it
Why?
Dad hated it.
You are.
I grew up listening to another style of music and hating the Beatles because I was told the Beatles sucked.
Anyway, you were looking for a part where you find it? Okay.
I got
So-
confused when you started talking about from Jude, but I don't remember what it was that I got confused about.
Was it while I was reading Jude?
I've been thinking them every day since I got them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah?
but I don't see it now.
Okay.
Oh, that tastes terrible.
So I always find it interesting when the Bible quotes things that didn't quite make it into the Bible. And in this case, in Jude, we have that example
Korah's Rebellion.
where, no, that's in 1 Corinthians,
Oh.
where Jude quotes from the book of Enoch, the first book of Enoch, chapter 1, verse 9. So I printed off the first chapter of the first book of Enoch if anybody wants to look at it, and then highlighted the part that he quoted
So, where do you find the book?
online. Or you can buy it, or you can buy an Ethiopian Bible and it'll come tucked in right there, right in the pages as a native part of the Bible, because their Bible has 67 books instead of 66.
Mama?
And it's because of that one that shows two verses,
But
verse
he's
14
looking
and
at
15
that.
in Jude, that Jude almost didn't get included in the Bible. Because the team that was putting together the, this is canon, this isn't canon, blah, 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 they didn't like the book of Enoch. And because Jude quoted from the book of Enoch, it almost didn't get included.
Dude, kids.
So why?
The devil, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's mainly because they didn't understand some of the concepts that he teaches.
When they were
Not
making
was ahead of his
the
time.
collection, they were just doing, this is the basics. They were just trying to put like the book
And
basics.
it is kind of deep.
It's pretty out there.
It's funny because today we were studying and we started a new study in Sunday school about James, and it started out with how Martin Luther didn't want James to be in the Bible. The book of James. I just think that's funny.
Martin Luther, the Protestant.
Yeah,
Martin Luther.
he did not like.
I'm trying to think why Martin Luther wouldn't want James to be in the Bible. Too hippie?
No,
Too
because
much love talk?
no, because James is more like what he said was the
Fluff.
New Testament
Yeah.
Proverbs. He doesn't like really talk about the
Stuff is
gospel. He just gives
raw.
good wisdom for how to live. even though
Didn't
he
mean
was-
to derail the subject.
That
I
doesn't
just
sound
thought
like
it was
a very strong argument on Martin Luther's part.
Probably
There was
why
a
I lost the
whole
argument.
Yeah.
quote to it.
Nor
We
did he
just-
punch anyone. To
Right.
make his point.
I mean, that's why he's
That's my
not.
Santa.
That's why he didn't become a mythical creature.
That's my Santa right there.
And that's how we know that it wasn't written by James, the son of Zebedee, because he was the
Right.
son of thunder.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been that gentle.
He wouldn't have been that gentle. No, no, he wasn't a son of thunder. He wasn't a terrorist. This was a completely different James. But his reference about Santa was from the Second Council of Nicaea. They were talking about the Trinity and whether or not Jesus was God. And Saint Nicholas got up and walked across the room and punched the guy in the face that was leading the charge against Jesus actually being God, because he had insulted the Savior by saying he wasn't God.
That's my Santa.
Martin Luther.
No, Saint Nicholas.
Saint Nicholas. Santa.
The man who then became known as Santa Claus.
And what time period was he in? Like the 1400s?
1300s.
1300s. I've never been good with history. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get off.
I'm bad with time. No, I mean it's
It's a fellowship conversation, not a.
the councils are important to a lot of biblical discussion.
Especially this one when we start talking about
Enoch.
Enoch didn't make it, but Jude did.
Yeah. Well, and that was one of the things I was asking, because our Sunday school teacher is a history teacher, and so he gets real excited. I'm like, wait a minute, what are we? Where are we? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
I get confused sometimes, and I was like, well, was the Bible already canonized at this point? It was already in there. Was he saying he wanted to take it out? He didn't want to put it in there. I was confused. But yeah.
And then we know that. Sorry.
The First Council of Nicaea decided there would be, I think it was 72 books. The Second Council of Nicaea whittled it down to 66 books. And then I do know that when Martin Luther led the charge to leave the Catholic Church and start just actually following the Bible instead of all that extraneous whatever, like selling penance after someone had
Yeah, that
died,
was
you
one
could
of the things
you
he
could
talked
buy
about.
your family member's way out of hell.
Yeah.
Well, he was talking about actually they were paying to get absolved from their sins.
Yeah.
You know, like
And you
they-
could do it for your dead relatives, even.
Yeah.
Which, if that was accurate,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
According to the Catholic Church, it was.
But it doesn't. That life doesn't actually work that way, sadly.
Yeah. So I totally imagine that he would advocate for, well, let's just redo this whole Bible thing too. You know, that seems his style. But
And makes me think that Jude is so short of a book, and they didn't want it to be in the Bible. Did they? The author, I'm guessing the author, Jude is Jude. Did he write more books? Maybe.
no
And-
clue.
And only, and that, well, yeah, we don't have any idea.
I mean, we don't have everything that Paul wrote. We don't have everything
Yeah.
that John wrote. We don't have everything that Jude wrote.
Yeah, maybe
sure.
Maybe Jude based the rest of his
Jude.
books off of the Book of Enoch. They're like,
Maybe.
and they're like, yeah, no.
Maybe they censored him. Maybe that's why it's such a short little chapter.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now we're getting to conspiratorial.
Sorry.
Conspiratorial.
Conspiratorial.
Conspiratorial. There we go. The life and
Censorship.
times of the Council of
Are you
Nicaea,
okay?
Part 2.
I need to find the minutes.
The minutes of the Council of Nicaea.
St. Nicholas walks across the room.
No,
St. Nicholas punches. Whoa.
Well, he wasn't saint yet. He was just Nicholas.
Oh, yeah,
He's
he was
just
just.
Nicholas.
Nicholas
Yeah,
what?
he wasn't
Yeah,
saint until he was dead.
Nicholas of
Nicholas of Myrna.
Nicholas of
Myrna.
Myrna. Myrna.
Yep.
Also known as the gift giver of Myrna, because he would
Katie's
drop,
here.
he would throw coins into the fireplaces of young poor women so they could have dowries to be able to get married.
Germanic, right? That area.
Close.
Not Germany.
He really wants your food.
Oh, she's in a different car.
Hey, she's in that white one.
Is that the car she was in at Nana's house? She must have gone home.
Can I hold them?
Do you want to go get him?
Ma.
Jojo. When it comes to unbuckling.
Okay,
He's like,
so if we're done talking about Enoch,
It's like,
everybody
that's
remembers
all-
Enoch, right? who Enoch is?
He's really old,
sure I've
right?
told
He's really old.
He's really, really old at this point.
According to Genesis, he never died, so he's really, really, really old now. He was the
Okay, I'll
Out of her outfit.
I'll wait.
grandfather of Lamech,
On me.
father of Methuselah, grandfather of Lamech, great-grandfather of Noah.
Oh yeah. And he walked with God and was with God.
And if you're looking for an interesting read,
His fox.
the book of Jude, the book of Enoch is quite the interesting read. It makes prophecies of the flood to come. It talks about
He likes to just hold the box. He doesn't put himself in the best
it
friend.
talks about when Noah was born. Lamech freaked out that Noah was white and said, "Well, that's not my kid," and journeyed to the ends of the earth to try to seek counsel from Enoch, who told him to get over it and go home and take care of his son.
Wait, what?
Yeah, in the book of Enoch it says that when Noah was born, he was born Snow White. And Lamech threw a fit and refused to believe it was his son.
Was he an albino or just a Caucasian?
No clue.
And what? So
But that's-
what color?
He might, Noah might have been the first white person. I don't
What color
know.
was Lamech?
Obviously not Snow White.
Probably African. of some
Otherwise, he wouldn't have thrown a fit and said, "That's not my kid."
So there's
I wonder, there must have been other white people then, or he wouldn't have just been. If he said it wasn't my kid.
Well, you got they come from a time where also there were half angel creatures walking around.
Nephilims were still around, and so. But there is thought that that's one of the reasons why the Council of Nicaea didn't want it in, because it proved that everyone in the Bible wasn't white, and that wasn't exactly something that certain organizations wanted
I
talked
didn't hear
about.
what you said.
That's one of the two reasons. There's another big reason, but.
He said that's one of the prevalent theories about why the Book of Enoch wasn't included by the Council of Nicaea, because it proved that there were more than just white people in the Bible,
Well,
and there were certain people in power at the time, the Romans, that didn't want that to
They wanted everyone to believe.
be a thing.
Well, obviously we got Asian people, black people, white people.
But not all those are
I
in
don't
the
see
Bible.
color.
Yeah. But
Except
don't
for,
say.
Simon, who they called Negros, meaning cute little blackie.
It's what it means.
That's straight from the text.
No, but the way you say it.
No. I'm sorry.
hello.
Are you okay? What's the matter? Nothing. Did you have to go home?
Yes.
Okay. Mina's our Mina. Mina's our Mina. Come on. Actually, come out.
Did you have anything from the podcast, Tina, you wanted to discuss
No,
when you listened to it?
if I feel need to say something about it, I will. You know that.
Do you need help, Joseph?
I don't know how it goes back.
Y'all hear how mean she is to me, right?
How rude.
Squeeze together.
I just had my football that like months ago.
What points are you wanting to make? Because I see notes on your paper.
You do?
I do.
Right now, I was looking up the scripture that names Simon Niger. But I'm coming up.
It might not be.
Here we go. Acts 13:1.
There you go.
Acts 13.
Sorry. Oh.
And Connor's name. Acts 13:1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Simeon, not Simon, well it might be Simon, but King James says Simeon, that was called Niger. He called him Niger.
He was just like.
which means black.
From Nigeria.
Or cute little black. You keep laughing, but
Yeah. Doesn't mean it's not funny.
it doesn't mean it's not funny. That's
Which-
true. Doesn't mean
Which
it's
Simon was it?
funny. One of the.
Not the apostle, right?
It was one
Simon
of
Peter?
the teachers at Antioch, the Church of Antioch, who ministered with Paul, or with Saul. Here it says Saul at Antioch.
Put your arms in, okay?
She has another onesie in there.
This is the first one I saw.
Her arms aren't gonna fall off.
Her back thing is above. She had her arms like this, stuck for like 5 minutes. And I
Why?
Where did my wife go?
It's a change
Change the baby.
do I need to go check on her?
Yay.
I keep telling her he's fine just the way he is. He doesn't need to change.
No.
She keeps changing him.
There's an actor.
Okay, so in the book of Jude, in verse 11, he says, "Woe to them, for they have gone the way of Cain, and plunged into Balaam's error for profit, and have perished in Korah's rebellion." I thought we should talk about those three things, because
Yeah. So what was Balaam's error? I remember would he like ignore Jesus?
when we start with Cain.
Because that's came up.
But Cain was the first option there.
Maybe in that version.
So Cain slew his brother.
Really?
Yeah, because God didn't accept Cain's offering, but he did accept Abel's offering.
Okay.
And so then Cain stalked him out into the field and hit him in the head with a rock.
How big do we think this rock was?
Big enough to kill him, and he hit him in the head with it.
Well, I mean, any rock can kill someone. So get it in the right spot.
I guess.
So I don't think it matters.
So I guess it doesn't matter how big it is. So Cain had shortcomings, and instead of dealing with them and just going, "Oh, I'm sorry, God, let me try again," he decided to go kill his brother instead. You talk about somebody that needs some anger management, some problem-solving skills worked on, something. So Balaam was a how do I say what Balaam was? Balaam was a prophet of sorts
Okay.
who would go around and for hire he would bless people in the name of God. And so he would seek out battles that were about to happen, and he would offer each side basically a bidding war, and whoever won, they would pay him, and he would bless them, and then they would win the battle.
And he was blessed by God. Was it, or
Well,
he
No.
could bless
not
him by-
exactly.
Well, he wasn't blessed, but he could bless him by name.
This pretty much falls under the category of witchcraft.
Yeah. He's more like a psychic.
Yeah. So one day he comes across a battlefield where Israel is facing off against an enemy, and Israel refuses to pay him because obviously that's witchcraft, and the other side will pay him, and he starts his thing where he's blessing the army, and God shuts him down hard, and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this because God's on their side," and then he has to leave. Quickly. And as if that wasn't bad enough, he then tries to go around it, and he's riding a donkey, and the donkey stops in the road and refuses to go, and so he beats the donkey. It's not the funnest way to say that, but he beats the donkey.
The Bible directly says, and Balaam beat his ass.
Balaam beat his ass.
That's the fun way to say
That's the
that.
fun way. Because the donkey is an ass, and that's what it says in the Bible.
Yeah.
Or in the King James at least.
King James, yes.
So Balaam beat his ass, and the donkey still wouldn't go, and so he beat it some more, and so then the donkey ran into a wall and crushed Balaam's leg, and so he beat it again, and then it ran off into a field, and he was like, "What the heck is wrong with you, donkey?" And then the donkey started talking
Yeah.
and said, "Haven't I always been a good ass for you? Haven't I always taken you where you want to go? You say go here, your ass takes you there. You say go there, your ass takes you there. Did you not see the big old angel in the road that was going to kill both of us if I kept going?" And Balaam was like, "No." And then he left, and that's where he basically doesn't show up anymore in the biblical history. So that's Balaam. And then Korah. Korah's fun.
The legend?
No.
Korah the legend? What?
The legend of Korah?
So Korah's rebellion,
I mean, I made him change hers.
it's
so I
in the
can change
time of
mine.
Moses and Aaron, and Korah was one of the priests.
Roxy.
He was one of the priests, one of the Levites. But Korah believed there shouldn't be a difference between the Levites and all the rest of the Israelites, and that Moses and Aaron had no business leading the people and weren't actually hearing from God, that all Israelites were equal. And so he got the community leaders together and said, okay guys, we're just going to take over. And Moses was like, this is a bad idea, but if you want to prove who's right, pick the 200 of your most devout people, bring your offering pans, we'll put incense in them, me and Aaron will do the same thing, and whoever God chooses will be a parent. And so the next day they do that, and God shows up, the presence of God shows up, and he tells Moses to stand clear of Korah and his men because he's about to destroy them. So Moses and Aaron fall to the ground and they pray, and God says, okay, fine. I won't kill everyone that I can reach with fire because of this. Just have the leaders of the rebellion stand outside of their tents. And they said, okay. So the leaders of the rebellion stood outside of the tents, Korah and 2 other men and their families. And then the ground opened up and swallowed them and all of their possessions and their tents. And then fire came down from heaven and obliterated the 200 men that had brought their offering plates. That weren't
I
Levites.
knew about that.
And that's
Where is
Korah's
that?
rebellion.
The
Numbers?
Bible.
Gotta be in the first 2 books.
I think it's in Numbers.
I remember.
Or maybe in
that.
Exodus. Probably Exodus.
I like your shirt, dude.
I don't think so. I think it's in numbers.
Anyway, so then, as if that wasn't enough, people in the camp started murmuring because of all the death from Korah's rebellion, and so a plague broke out. And Aaron had to swiftly go down and bring the blessing of the Lord to end the plague. And all in all, about 14,700 people died due to Korah and his rebellion.
Nice. What'd you get?
That's crazy.
That's tough.
It's interesting though. Aaron just took one of those plates, the same plates the other guys were hearing, and he burned some incense in it, and he just went out there and he started wiping ash on people's heads to get rid of the plague. And it worked.
I wish that would happen today.
Right?
I like King.
Oh, you got SARS? You're better.
No, I just like to see the earth open up and have a bunch of
Oh, imagine all the stories
Not,
about that.
not the healing part, though.
Not the healing part. The eating.
Yeah.
The people being sent to Sheol alive.
Yeah.
Sheol? Is that the Greek name from hell?
That's what it says in the Old Testament. Is the people who were swallowed were sent to Sheol alive
Well,
with
hell-
their bodies to prove
people
the power
don't
of the
go
Lord.
to hell until after the judgment, right? They go to Sheol or the Hades.
Well, yeah. Now they don't go
Until-
anywhere. Can you get the back of my pen? It fell over in there. So you're- Before Christ, yeah, everyone went to Sheol, but in spirit form, except for Korah and his people. Now people just sleep. That's better.
So what is Sheol?
And his baby's wiggly.
Kind of like a holding place.
Okay.
There's a chasm, and on one side,
Oh, is that like
people who are deemed unrighteous by the angels are dropped into fire, and on the other side, people who are deemed righteous by the angels are dropped into endless fields of grain.
A resting place.
And it's hard to, it's a lot of descriptions.
So is that what the rich man saw when he
Yeah,
persecuted
the rich man
Lazarus?
looked up from the fire and saw Lazarus, the beggar,
And Lazarus and Abraham.
in Abraham's bosom.
Yeah.
Which is the name they gave to the good side.
The Greeks and Romans called it something different.
Fields of Elysium and Tartarus.
you ever watched the movie Gladiator, which I'm pretty sure you probably haven't because you're too young still. The movie Gladiator, at the end,
yeah.
when he's walking through the wheat fields, it's basically
Yeah.
Interesting though, the Greeks got the word Tartarus from the Jews.
Yeah.
It's a Hebrew word. It's the lower levels of that half of Sheol. Sorry.
You are all
Where the
these.
really, really bad people are deposited by the angels. But things aren't like that anymore, because Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus did a thing like a long time ago.
Yeah. And he went down there and he preached the gospel, and anyone who believed, whether they were on either side of that chasm, were delivered. That's all the notes I have. It's only 7 o'clock. Talk about anything we want.
Well, if you talk about something, I'll probably ask a question, and then we'll talk about something else.
So, of the people that have declared they don't believe anymore, the two influencers that were the most popular. See, now even my neon pen's getting hard to read. Joshua Harris, who was a pastor at a megachurch, and
Which megachurch?
What's a megachurch?
No, which megachurch?
Saddleback? It was Saddleback in California. And author, he authored several books, but his first book that made him popular was I Kissed Dating Goodbye, which he then later went back and said, I don't actually believe anything I wrote in that book, which I guess we should have seen this coming after that, and wrote a new book that has a completely different view because he met his wife and they got married, and he decided he had gotten it wrong, but now they're getting divorced, so maybe the first book was right? I don't know.
Maybe you should wait till you're old to write books.
Maybe you shouldn't write books when you're a teenager about dating.
when you've never done it.
When you've never dated.
Oh!
Right. And the other person is Marty Sampson, who wrote a bunch of songs for Hillsong and is on almost every Hillsong album that's ever been released,
This is a lot easier.
singing.
So what these people, what are we talking about? Like, what did they do?
They've publicly announced that they don't believe in, well, Marty publicly announced he didn't believe and then recanted and said, well, I'm actually just struggling with my faith. But Joshua Harris just straight up went the whole nine and said, I don't believe this anymore. I'm not a Christian. But, you know, we read in John that that's just not a thing.
Apostate.
1 John. It's just not a thing. If you're able to leave the faith, then you never really truly believed. And honestly, if we're dropping all of these actions onto a scale, right? It's better for someone who is pretending to believe to come to the realization that they're pretending to believe and become an apostate than to continue because well, instead of continuing to pretend and being ignorant to what's going on, because the closer they get to death as ignorant, they're definitely sealing their fate of going to hell. But if they come to that realization and I don't believe anymore, then there's hope that they could actually come to believe at that point. So it's better for them to become an apostate than for them to not.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you think you're doing something, but
You're not my son, you're Asher. There's my son. I want some blame.
if you think you're doing something, but you're actually not, it's better for you to realize that you're not actually doing it than to continue pretending or not pretending, but like unwillingly continue to not do it.
Right.
Does that scripture about hot and cold and
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking in Revelation. It says that I wilt that you would be either hot or cold, because if you are lukewarm, I will spew you out.
Out of my mouth.
I will vomit you. That's my. I like that translation a lot more.
Here, look.
Vomit out? I don't know what the CSB says. Do you guys know what that reference is?
Oh,
Okay.
no, I don't have the address. I just know it's in Revelation.
The address.
Sister.
I'll look it up. I'll look up the address.
Okay.
Isn't it like Revelation 10 or something?
I think you're gonna have to take your
3:16.
sidekick. Okay.
Lukewarm person. Lukewarm person.
I already said 316.
A lot of books have interesting 316
Mama's giving
verses.
Asher back to baby.
I think that might be a coincidental thing.
And also 9/11.
He doesn't want to let it go.
Okay.
Just doesn't want it on his neck.
Right here?
Yeah. Thank you.
No.
What are you looking for?
Let me see.
I think she asked me.
Oh.
You should.
With your butt.
Pick up. Pick up on the beanie.
Yeah.
There you go.
I know your works that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish that you were cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I'm going to vomit you out of my mouth.
Is that the CSB?
Yep.
What does an IV say?
I don't know. I don't read the NIV. See what it says in the original.
That's great. So
Revelations 3. Spew in the original is the word vomit. Or rather, an eo. An eo. An eo. Is to vomit. An eo. That makes sense, right? They'd make the word an eo. Because that's the noise you make when you're vomiting.
That's not the noise Avery makes when she's vomiting.
Does she go, woo?
She doesn't make a noise.
Oh, she goes.
I'm so jealous of
Finnick
her.
doesn't either. He just goes, and he just starts pouring out, and I'm like, whoa, that's creepy.
No
Jesse-
noise at all. Not even weird
Jesse
faces.
did her first big vomit the other day,
Yeah.
and it was the size of her body.
Wow.
All over my side of the bed.
Nice. Did she poop at the same time?
We have this nice cover that goes under our sheet that protects our mattress from
Yeah.
liquids.
Get a mattress protector. You have a babies.
But like an adult mattress protector, not like a kid in the bed mattress protector. It's not just plastic.
So
It's
this is,
also good for
it's nice.
sweat.
Why not to have it?
Yes.
Conversation.
That's
Yes.
what a lot of money.
Our last one was
Aren't you glad you came?
Whatever you're talking about now.
Although it can only do so much. Our new mattress has some spots from
You should have heard
sweat.
the conversation
with the
before the
thing on
babies
there.
got here.
My bad. I started it, I think.
What did you start?
No, maybe you started it. The vomit.
I didn't start it. That was Brian. Brian started the vomit talk.
No, I didn't.
No, Roxanne and
No,
I
I guess
brought
I
it up
did do
at the
it.
same time.
I did. My bad.
Yeah, I know. I heard him say it earlier. Oh my god. I get this keto coffee bang. Oh my god, it's
Keto
disgusting.
coffee bang.
Yes.
You got a coffee one
That's
already.
terrible.
Not a coffee bang.
Or a drink. Okay,
I had an instant coffee mix. You're supposed to put in water, and I used it as my coffee creamer instead.
You
That was
don't
good. I
both
like
try it?
that.
Oh god, it is.
It's a keto coffee thing.
I didn't even, I drank about half of it.
And we're done with it, yeah.
When I don't eat carbs, I get sad. so sad.
Earlier I was.
And then I get mad. And then I get sad.
When I don't eat carbs, my allergies calm down, and I don't need as many cough drops.
And I go and I bit onto it. Oh.
I wish my allergies worked like that.
And then I eat lots of candy.
All my pain goes away from my joints, which you would think would mean I would just, not. But
One would think, but one does not.
Like a dog returning to its own vomit.
I did not
back with the
appreciate
vomit.
as
that.
Paul says,
Did you mean to?
the things I want to do, I don't do. The things I don't want to do, I do.
Can I have my drink?
Yeah.
So that was with them peanut butter M&Ms.
Hazelnut.
That little weeb last night wouldn't eat half of them like he normally does. I was not happy with him. So I buying the peanut butter M&Ms because Will will eat them,
Yeah.
so he'll eat half the bag.
Dang
And
it.
he didn't eat them last night because he's trying to cut down on his sugars. And I'm like, now I have to eat all of them. He goes, well, you should have thought about that. I was like, I did!
No, wait, they're peanut butter.
You don't like the peanut butter ones?
Does Finn say his first words?
So, yeah, I thought it
Stop using it. Not
What
really.
happens
He
to the
kinda
peanut
goes
butter
mama,
M&Ms when
mama,
they get
but
hot
it's not
and
really
melt?
mama.
they're weird.
Did they
get
coagulate into
hot.
Spread
one
them
giant
on bread
M&M?
and make a sandwich.
They
Now
kind
we
of
We had the
stay,
hazelnut
but
ones?
they flatten because the candy coating is a lot higher temperature.
Yeah.
But if it melts, it's all over.
Yeah, it's just you're done.
I don't really like Nutella, but the hazelnut M&Ms are so good. I haven't tried them.
I don't like Nutella because it makes it feel like I just like put a layer of wax all over my mouth, and I'm like,
You know what I
my
do?
mouth is hydrophobic now.
I bought myself a candy bar, and I bought my kids and my husband candy bars, and somebody didn't want one of theirs, so I decided to eat theirs before I ate mine because I wanted the good one last, and then somebody ate mine before I got to it.
That was me before I went back on keto.
I was very upset.
Good job, though.
And then she was like, you ate my candy bar, and I was like, yep, that's what happened.
So apparently, when Tina Abbott was
Born?
pregnant with Joel, however many years ago, I ate the last of her sopapilla cheesecake, and so today I couldn't have any sopapilla
Isn't
cheesecake.
he like 9?
He's like 7, 5.
She remembered it though.
That's a big deal.
And she got on to him. It was so funny.
Wait, what happened?
Tina got on to Tim.
Well, I know, but
If
like,
she's holding a grudge, you should tell her she needs to pray about that.
Yeah, 21 years ago, I ate a ham out of the fridge of a friend's house. And last
Like an
year,
entire
the
ham?
mother from that house got onto me on Facebook for having eaten her ham 20 years earlier.
Oh my god.
Ginger Johnson. I was like, oh yeah, that is a thing. That did happen. Wait, that was 20 years ago. Why are we having this conversation? I was a teenager.
you were a teenager 20 years ago?
Yeah.
He's
Barely.
old.
Older than you.
20 years older than you.
I thought you were like 40.
37, right?
I'm 37 now.
That's what I thought. So 20 years ago, you were 17.
Yeah.
He said he was 20 years older than him. You were only
Well,
15.
okay, so he's 22 years.
22 years older than you, Joe.
I'm 12 years older than you.
I'm old. I'm old.
I'm like,
I'm 50 years older than him.
I'm old, but if I hide my gray hair, you don't know it.
Hey, why do you think I wear a hat?
because you're balding.
Like your dad.
Because you're balding, yeah. That's why you wear a hat.
It goes like this.
Guilty.
Now you know. Now you can laugh.
What you do is mind.
I could be Harry Potter for Halloween.
How could you be Harry Potter?
It's
It's not that. We could cut it into that if you want to.
It's almost that, okay?
I see what you're saying. That's funny. You should just shave it like Shane.
She won't let me.
Okay.
You should just go bald.
She won't let me.
When did y'all see Shane?
No,
Everybody's talking about Shane all of a sudden.
Who's Shane?
Shane, your cousin.
I literally haven't seen him since a week after Dad died.
I should go bald like his face.
I'm pretty sure the last time I saw him.
Oh, they didn't go bald. They got shaved.
Yeah, just shave your head.
Same concept.
That's how long it's been.
Going bald means it's not coming back. Doesn't have the capacity to come back.
No, but if you shaved his head, his hair will grow back.
No.
Not all of it will grow back.
You're making all these babies cry.
I am.
Yes.
I have the power of making babies cry. Cry.
You trash.
Darks needs help.
I mean, you think it's just the dress, but it's the state of life right now. She needs help.
Now?
It's
Yeah.
my first time wearing it, and it's not
Now?
as easy as
Okay, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, not as bad as it used to be.
Oh yeah.
It's so high. I can't
No.
give you the chin.
Much more mature.
No, like I can do it. I can do this. Give me the second.
I got him.
Because there was a time.
Okay. Oh, okay. Now I have the power.
You're dual wielding.
Were you dual wielding babies?
Dual wielding babies. And they're loaded for bear.
I see that. Weird. Hello, child.
I don't think he knows what he wants.
No?
You want the police to fire?
Okay.
I'm glad you're not at work right now.
So it's 7:14. Tonight we're kicking off. I hope we're kicking off a new series about Jesus in the Old Testament. I didn't actually go forward and check to make sure there was enough to make a series. I just did the first episode of what I think is a 6-part series, 5 or 6 part series, and
What's the first one going to be
I'm
on?
hoping it turns out well.
I thought you just flipped me off.
No, I crossed my finger.
All I saw was your.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
We did.
You did like
I went like this, and he was like, "Are you flipping me off?"
We're like, wow, Bill.
So the episode that just came out is part 1. Jesus in the Old Testament.
That's yours.
Jesus is recorded as saying in John chapter 8, verse 56, "Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day. He saw it and was glad." So yeah.
It was really soft, and then I got left outside in the sun for a week. And now it's not this soft.
Listen to it if you know how to use technology.
What's that?
If you're a Luddite, then just come read it next week when you get here.
It's okay, the only baby he likes.
If you're a Luddite or an Amish,
I mean,
just
I
come
can't
and
hold
read
it
it
and
when you
make
get
you
here.
babies.
Oh, he's talking about your people.
Savannah only likes
You're
Savannah,
Are you in Rumspringa?
At least I'm not. Fucking Vina's like Savannah.
You know you can use technology on Rumspringa.
I was
You can totally listen to it.
Savannah blatantly was like,
Rumspringa, you do
like
Rumspringa as long as you need to. You can either come back or declare you're not coming back at any time you want.
But depending on your community, you might not be able to.
Do you want me to throw some paper at?
You might not be able to come back to that community, but you could declare, I was wrong, I want to come back. And some community will take it.
Somebody will take you back.
What are you doing?
Did you ever watch that series on MTV or whatever? They actually did a series on the Amish going on Rumspringa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Amish are what?
I remember seeing a
Rumspringa.
but
It's
movies
like
are not,
they,
real.
they
life.
come to
Talking about the comedy with
reality.
No.
Pretty much.
No, it wasn't that.
Okay.
It was like a Hallmark
Yeah, they
movie.
leave
They
the
get technology and all that stuff, and they get to experience for the first time.
community and there's no rules.
Is
They
it,
do
is
whatever
it when
they
they
want.
turn 18 or?
I think it's 17.
Okay, yeah.
So much.
It must depend on the community.
Yeah.
16, 17, 18, somewhere in there.
Nothing.
Do you need another one?
No.
You need cough drops or some right here?
You shouldn't. You tell the girls not to eat them like candy, and yet you eat them like candy.
I
These are the ones. These are
It tastes
pocket
good.
ones.
Well, you tell
Those are
your
my pocket
kids,
ones?
don't do what I do.
They're
Don't
my
do what I
pocket
do.
ones.
Do what I say.
Should we drop her off?
Excuse me. Sorry,
In
Cameron.
the
Excuse me.
famous words of Tony Stark,
You know,
In a minute.
that's how we still got all still got in trouble.
don't do
Huh?
what I would do. Definitely don't do what I wouldn't do. Little
I
gray
thought you were
line
going to
in
say, even dead on the hero.
Let's go, he did.
Spoilers.
Who says that?
It's Tony
Oh,
Stark.
Edith.
Tony Stark. I
No,
saw that.
well,
Okay.
yeah. Technically,
Yeah.
Edith says it,
Yeah.
but Tony Stark programmed her to say it.
We get
Yeah,
it.
it was in the movie that we saw
Yes.
that I couldn't see because I hadn't seen the
Spoilers.
other movie.
Are you like Jarvis? No, I'm Edith. Edith. It means even dead. I'm the hero.
Tony sure loved it.
Yeah, that's
That wasn't
Far
me.
from
That was your mother.
I don't know why she's doing
He's looking at me like, why are you licking me?
I didn't lick him.
Why are you licking me now?
It is October, and you are kind of hocus pocus, and you do like the witch that's like, I smell children. But you shouldn't eat our children.
I bought a shirt.
Oh, I
It's got her on
love
it. It
that.
says I
Okay,
still told
you
I
can
can't
take
wear
it
it.
now.
Why?
Because it's not a nursing shirt. It's crazy long.
I mean, I don't wear nursing shirts. I just pull them up.
And I don't like wearing undershirts.
I don't either.
Roxanne doesn't like flashing everybody.
I have a blanket.
Katie
Pull
doesn't
up.
care.
I don't use a blanket.
I mean,
You've got that reversed.
after a while, the blanket comes down and it's just on his head.
Do not hang down like that.
Also, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, I wouldn't want to eat under a blanket, so why would I make a baby?
Oh my goodness.
I just like wrap it
Four
on the
babies.
side so that nobody sees it.
Yeah,
and
Bill.
I'm like, okay.
I just wear
No,
my
why would I
four
make a
shirts
baby
on.
eat under a blanket?
Oh.
Context, people. Context.
No.
Need a baby.
No.
This one.
Nope. Nope.
What did you do?
Nothing.
I needed to hold the
Hiding
box.
behind my hat.
You're holding it now. Holding my hands for
Oh, your hands are here.
All right. Any last questions or thoughts about
Why do we exist?
anything that came up tonight?
That does not have to do with anything.
Enoch, Jude, apostates,
Beatles.
apostasy, the Beatles.
Apostasy?
Yes.
Throw up.
Frost.
Did you just say apostasy? Like you weren't here at all?
I don't know where the doctor
A
is.
pasta. C. Pasta.
Yeah, vomit. Yeah,
I gave it to you.
I visited this church once when I was in high school. I visited this church where they had a pizza party at the beginning of the youth group service, and then everyone would eat until they got sick, and then they would line up and throw up, and the youth pastor would guess what pizza they had chosen to eat, and whoever could stump the youth pastor won the game.
Was it a cult?
It was a youth game.
Sounds like
It was an Assembly of God church.
Disgusting.
So
No.
Probably started off as an accident the first time they played. They grew it to
He's
an actual
very
game.
crappy.
Gross.
So.
Gross.
Oh,
That's
also,
gross.
we also talked about
But you know, vomit. So.
I think the grossest game we
came
ever
up.
played as a youth group was we had this thing, we had to put it in our armpit and then trade it to somebody else's armpit, so you're like
See.
playing armpits with
Couch
other
on
people, other
football.
teenagers that smell bad.
eat a whole watermelon.
Eat some caramel.
Yeah, but
Drink it
no,
down
no,
the
so
I
you
middle.
think that caramel onion was
Oh.
pretty
The
gross.
grossest thing that ever happened was when I ate
See, I never did anything like that when I was a
It
youth
told me it was
pastor.
like, not cool.
What do you
You
mean?
know, it's like
So
almost.
Street great.
What do you mean the onion was the nastiest thing?
It's almost
You didn't
physically
eat
That
it.
made me
I
mad.
didn't have
That
any
made me
tongue.
See, kids, this is how you pop the
It's a
panel to
tongue
get
twister.
more hiding
I did not
space
like
when you're.
You're
noons.
choking yourself. Stop that.
The things I did when I was at a youth group was a little different than what most
And
people
this
do.
is how much more you need to air
Yeah.
up your tires, so when the cop hits you with the sensor, it doesn't look like you're too overweighted, so they don't pull you over.
Nah, you just do a lift kit of about 2 inches.
Noons. Wait, what was I gonna say?
I know what you're after.
Just saying. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So I saw this shirt I wanted.
Hello.
Mhm.
It says smuggler,
Give it
but
here.
then but in the
Give
S,
you
there's a
your
little,
baby.
there's a little Bible smuggler.
You
And it's
did.
for Voice of the Martyrs.
Yeah.
And I really want it because it supports them smuggling Bibles into countries where the Bible's illegal.
Yeah.
And I really want it, but the largest it has is 2X. And I was like,
I have this shirt that says it's a red cross.
You should have bought it.
triple that. Uh huh.
Should have bought the shirt.
No, that's
Gold.
your day.
Should have bought you gold.
It's a hoodie, and it's a cross on the front, and it says this message is illegal in how many countries.
Yeah, 200.
And then on the back it talks about the different things. I get stopped on that sweatshirt so much, but it's one of my favorites because it's one of those where it's like, how's that illegal? Because most countries, unlike unlike the ability you have to either accept or reject a religion, they are literally not allowed to accept anything other than what the government tells
Yeah,
them.
like China. It's illegal to.
Witness.
Well,
Well, you know.
you can register as a Christian, but if you register as a Christian, you're not allowed to share your faith. And you can register as a Muslim, but if you register as a Muslim, you're going to a concentration camp because that's where Muslims go. But you're free to register. You have the freedom to let them know you're a Muslim. If you register as a Christian, you have more than 5 people come to a dinner party at your house. They assume that you're sharing the gospel and you're arrested. If you register as a Christian and you go to a different church than what you've registered, or go to a different service, then you let them know with a week's advance, then you'll be arrested. What else? If your church receives too many visitors within a certain amount of period, I think it's a month. I think it's like they can have 10 visitors a month of unregistered people, then your church gets shut down. A percentage of the congregation?
I think it's a percentage of the congregation.
And then the church gets shut down. China.
We both know someone who's a missionary there.
Well, he's in Thailand right now, but
Well, he goes back. Yeah.
he mainly lives in Thailand.
Well, that's what happens when you.
Well, actually, right now he's here raising funds. Is he? But, well, not here, but he's in the States right now.
I
Right?
don't even know that.
Where in the States?
Sorry.
I can't remember. He's also trying to push his new book.
I don't use Facebook, so I miss everything and stuff like that. I actually liked posts. If anyone's on Facebook, I liked posts this week. It was crazy. I actually logged in and
Who are
did
you?
things. I don't know. It was weird. I was having a good day, and so I was like, hey, let me happen to open up Facebook and liked a couple posts. You're upside down. I'm not upside down. Don't look at me like that. You're upside down.
He's like, why are you guys upside down?
You're upside down, Holmes.
I was trying to see if I could get him to be
Sure. A new
You did.
fantastic.
Do it.
waiting.
Now she's asleep. She's not spoiled or asleep.
Here you go, Auntie.
I'll take it.
You need to head out.
Yeah.
You know what home?
I'll take it.
My buddy's been up 6 years.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, brother.
I'll take them upside down.
Love you too. Love you too.
Are
See you Friday.
You coming in for hugs too, sir?
Josh. Bye, Josh.
Sir, see you later.
Oh my
And let me give you something, Josh.
No.
I'm glad you were able to come by.
Yeah.
I know, that's what it's
Oh.
called.
Walking in DM, sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
Hopefully you
take
guys
the-
can both come.
Take the wagon.
So, this is a website
Okay.
that will lead you to our website because the cards that have the actual website is in my house with the regular pens.
Yeah.
So that one will lead you to our website where you can
Okay.
see the podcast, you can see the just the overall stuff about the church and everything.
Okay.
So if you want to
Yeah, I'll check
pick
it
that
out.
up, he's got some more on the
When I
information.
was trying to take him out of the
Yeah,
car
so-
seat, I
Alright.
smashed
All right,
it.
good seeing you again.
See you.
How much you
Steve,
get
Dad.
He needs what?
It took a while.
Reading material.
Stop bleeding.
Like, seriously?
I didn't get a selfie with the
Do you have a Bible?
No, I don't.
Let me
That's
take a
fine,
picture
still
with both
Come here.
Will,
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Why are you so bendy?
yeah, I went to change Yasher's diaper, and he just laid there and let me change his diaper. It was amazing.
We have bonding during diaper changing, so
What is the
I like when I
Take a
talk to him
picture
a lot.
of me.
No matter what I do, he would let me drive me weird in my house. Even if I give him toys, he takes his toys with him and.
He was jumpy.
He's a wiggle monster.
This way or this way?
Oh, I've been ignoring
I
the
mean,
chat.
he's a wiggle
Landscape.
monster, but
Not
it's like
portrait.
when he
No, not portrait.
he tries to
Landscape.
wiggle and I'm thinking and I'm just like, can you
Oh, good. I didn't miss any messages.
Don't pinch him. Hey, look at it.
What?
He's still pinching him.
Not cooperating.
Asher.
Why are you pinching my baby? He's pinching Asher's head.
Oh, wow.
He's like, he's like, hi baby. Ben does not like Asher.
I don't think his name is Liga, and he likes to speak.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, babies. I love you.
I'm checking my 20s.
You're not impressed, see? He's not impressed.
Can you hold him on my lap so I
Not,
can?
there is a left way anymore.
Take him from
There's a Mardell over on Persidia. Persidia? The little horse thing with all the, there's Chick-fil-A and there's Target and there's over on 35, like 35 and 37 split. So Mardell's there. You know of another Mardell's that didn't shut down?
Over by party at the when Sarah freaks out doing the ropes thing.
That's what he's talking about.
Okay.
It's over there
No,
off of
that's the
35.
one I was talking about.
On my shoulders.
Nice.
Crazy. Not yet. I'm going to I'm attending a webinar tomorrow for the CSB. They're supposed to mail me
It's
another
just
free
like, yeah,
copy.
whatever.
So I'll get one that
What are
way.
you
but-
doing?
Yeah, I'll just touch base with Gloria and.
I'll reach out to my
Except for
contact
this one.
at the CSB and what's that?
It's
Holman.
like rolling
I
down
think it's
the
Holman.
arm. It's like,
Reach out to my contact at Holman and see if they'll be willing to send us some more because we're giving them away.
he's like, he's ready.
See if they'll give us any. But, so we'll do all the plan. You know, all every facet there that we talked about.
Hurting my finger, buddy.
Good mama,
I
stop.
need to, next paycheck on this one. Kind of church funds are so simple.
All right, so go listen to the podcast and join us here or there or
Was he biting you?
here or there next week. Have a good week. Bye.
No, he's fine. He's biting.
Have a good one,
me
guys.
hard.
Yeah, I don't know what is.